Testing, testing. Oh, no, you can't.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Testing, see?
oh, yeah,
Green.
yep. Yep, now if you turn it off. You what?
Maria, I asked Maria to join us because we got text.
Hey, Maria, can you hear us? Maria?
I'm going for the design symposium.
Well, look at, she is,
March.
She's muted.
yeah,
Like a
Which
March
means she
whole
can't
thing.
hear me?
right, well, she can hear you, but she just can't, if she's
Where's
trying to
that?
talk.
It's in
Just
San
not
Antonio?
speak, just not have a,
Doesn't have a mic.
It's triple
Oh, okay.
ACC.
All right. Hi, Bruce, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm gonna skedaddle right after.
Can't hear you.
Where's Bruce at?
It starts at 5:30.
Your mic, it looks like your mic is muted.
You can push up by his name, hit that request. Yeah. You can send him a request.
I think Maggie's here.
See where it says request.
Watch on your phone.
That's correct.
Now can you hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Okay.
There he is. Good. So that proves right there that it's on his computer, or it was before.
I hate to tell you this, Karen, but it's 71 down here.
You know what?
Oh.
I guess I'm just gonna say I'm happy for you.
Okay, just forget I told you.
Where are you? Are you in Florida?
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think you need some IT support down there, do you?
Been trying to figure all that.
His name's Bruce, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear me, Bruce?
What'd you say?
I said, I think you need some IT tech support down there.
My son just got off of his Zoom call and he got me zoomed in.
These guys?
Yeah.
No.
Sounds like
Yes.
the approach to.
So it's unverified because why?
Because they don't have a,
I haven't noticed.
Oh, so they will always say.
Yeah.
Sun chair.
Conversation.
That means we don't have a single.
They have to physically go.
You hear him every once in a while.
There's some.
That's the BOA. That's under the BOA. I don't know about, I haven't looked at the rest of it. The Boeing is like under some rules for them. That's what I
Well, how much think of you? I said, I don't know.
Because he was appearing by
So maybe
WebEx.
someone to remind me.
But then the statute says they have to physically at least
Because,
one
dog is
meeting.
absent. That's-
Well, there is a. There's a microphone.
We are.
I don't know, I haven't looked at it for the other parts.
Second, third.
That's
No, the
not-
other,
There's
I
a seminar on what to do or use.
Yeah, in order to have a quorum, you have to have at least.
I will get the
two people on
WebEx,
site.
I will get the BOA.
And at least two lines.
But I have a question for you, but we can talk tomorrow. It's not the heavy rescue.
Everything's after that.
That's
I got a
it.
copy of the lease agreement.
Yeah, or Maggie's.
Oh, boy. Tell them, look, if you guys are willing, tell them, look, if you guys are willing to.
What?
Hello, Tom.
Hello there.
Keep talking for a second.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We are geniuses.
right.
Can you hear me?
Bruce, the video adds 10 pounds.
Thanks. I needed it.
Tom's
Hey,
No, but, the
he
process.
had about 4 shades of color too.
Gotcha.
Where are you? Are you somewhere warm?
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Ah,
71.
cool.
Hey,
I know you like to sit on the Yes.
this is exactly why we need 5 board members instead of 4.
You?
Good
Right.
point. Good point.
Says 200, then so what?
Okay.
Well,
Well, the tax part, we also don't have, we don't have the, exhibit A.
Yeah, that's okay. He's aware of that and he knows what we're saying.
This is when I want this
It won't hold me.
You got to see what meeting you're getting.
It's really busy.
That's good.
Wish I could find more people.
Are we ready?
Andy, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Whichever one of you would like to be the gavel person.
Yeah.
Leave that up to Maggie.
I am the secretary after all. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of Aviation Commissioners to order. Do you take roll call first, Karen?
Yeah, I will.
Yes.
Yeah. So Tim Reeser,
Present.
Maggie Maroka,
Present.
Tom Schaff,
Here,
Bruce Schreiner.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, now, we're moving on to approval of the minutes from January 29th, 2025. Does anybody have any corrections or concerns?
None.
motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have to do a roll for
Oh,
this. That's
sorry.
Tim,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Bruce,
Aye.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay. Next, I have the approval of claims, in the amount of $46,804.75. Do I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Do you need to do a roll call on that?
Any questions?
Any questions?
None.
Tom,
No, I don't have any.
taking roll. So
That was the roll call, Tom.
Oh, I thought you said none, Bruce.
I did.
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Okay, then on to the airport manager's report.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here. I don't have a lot to report. Just wanted to bring you up to speed on our new information sign that you approved, which is part of the fiscal year 2025 budget. We talked to the sign vendor today. They're thinking they should be taking delivery of the portion of the sign that they need in order to be able to begin installation. So we're hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll see some construction going on. I really thought it would be within the next 30 days or so. So we're looking forward to that. The other item that where we carried over a couple bucks per project we need to get done was the maintenance doors or the maintenance hanger that were replaced on the tracks. 4T door did that job. It's now done. Now that all three doors open all the way and the mullions retract the way it should, so we're very happy about that, and they're insulated, so hopefully that'll help on the heat. The snow and ice control has been going well. We're doing something different this year. We're trying to keep everybody on one shift, and because of the lack of snow, we feel like we can keep up with it adequately without breaking the budget by using overtime. We're still way under the amount of overtime that we budgeted for the year. I mean, probably will be by the time the winter season is over. But that's allowed us to have, more men and equipment on the runways and taxiways during the peak hours, so we can get things cleared more quickly. And I think it's more efficient. So for the time being, this year anyway, we'll keep it that way, but we'll keep an eye on it to see if we need to change back. As far as the weather, as long as it cooperates. I am gonna be away, for about a week or so. I just wanted to let you all know that I'll be available throughout that time on my cell phone. Welcome to call at any time. And then, looks like we're, as part of our goal is to try to educate youth early about aviation. We're booking field trips pretty steadily. I hear Karen on the phone talking to folks, so that's a good thing. So I like the idea of having young people come here to the airport, get on the runways with us, explain to them what's going on, get them up in the tower. Hopefully those will be the pilots of tomorrow. That's really all I have right now for the manager's report. If anybody has, well, I guess there's one other thing. I want you to keep Herb in your prayers. His father had a heart attack yesterday, and then his mother did. So they are in their 90s. So Herb won't be here for a few days, obviously, taking care of them. So let's hope they pull through. But that's all I have. If anybody has any questions.
That seems to happen a lot with couples that been together a long time. Within about a month of each other, something usually happens.
Are you trying to say something about Becky?
I was hoping.
Bruce,
Oh, no, I didn't say. I didn't say that.
Bruce, when I heard that, I did think of you, because I know, that was the case with your folks. So it wasn't long.
Yeah. They were about a month apart.
Right. That's all I had.
Okay.
Thanks.
Dave.
Thanks for the report, Andy.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Moving on, we have an agricultural lease agreement. Does anyone have any questions? Hearing none.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, for a number of years, we had a farmer, Matthew, I think it's Matthew Farms, has been farming the airfield. We had an inquiry from another farmer over a year ago who expressed interest. So we then put together, you approved quote specifications. We sent those out to both the existing farmer and the new farmer, and they both while the existing farmer decided to stand on what he had been paying per acre, the new farmer submitted a quote that was higher, a little bit. I met with him. He's, You know, they are, I think they'll do a fine job. I don't have any problem with them being able to provide the same services before. So I'm asking the board to approve that lease, agreement. He has signed it pending board approval. There is one typo. The farmer agreed to pay $200 per acre. And in the lease, it does spell out $200 in text, and then the total is correct annually. But in parentheses, Maggie noticed it only said $100. So we'll need to have that initialed and by the farmer before he starts. But if you, so I'm asking for the board to approve the lease, and then we'll, with that one caveat that we'll need to change later.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, do we need a roll call?
Everything does.
Oh, everything does.
Because not everyone's here, so. Yeah. Tim,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda, Andy, would you please talk to us about the lease payment refund you're
Sure.
requesting?
Yes. Again, the existing farmer was invoiced. I guess it's the end date of the lease slipped by us. We didn't realize it expired at the end of 2024. He had been invoiced for the 2025, paid it. So I informed him that we didn't have, that was a omission on our part, and that pending the outcome of the receiving quotes for the new lease agreement, we'd either be moving forward with the existing or crediting him or invoicing more, just depending on how he quoted it, or be refunding. So the existing farmer is aware of that. So as it turns out, he won't be the farmer for 2025, so we'll need to issue credit for what he's paid, which I think was what, 12?
It's gonna be a refund in the amount of $12,500.
$12,500 refund for services he will not be providing to us. So I'm asking the board to approve the refund.
Can I get a motion to approve the refund?
So moved.
Second.
A vote?
Tim,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Okay, Andy, you have made a request to attend the AAAE NEC Annual Airport Conference. Would you please talk to us about that?
Sure. Last month, the board approved sending me to the basic airport operations and safety specialist school in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That's on Saturday and Sunday. What we didn't realize was that a separate registration was available to also attend the Northeastern Conference of the American Association of Airport Executives. It's the annual conference. The paperwork's a little confusing. It showed it taking place in Nova Scotia, which there is one there, but then there also, right after this, in the same location, is the 3 days of additional pertinent information for our airport that I'd like to stick around and see. There's also a trade show there too, where we can rub elbows with some aviation experts. There's some particular things on the agenda that I think pertain to our airport. I'd like to attend that. So I wanted to ask the board's permission for me to extend my stay and to attend that additional portion of the conference.
Can I get a motion approving the airport director to attend the conference with cost not to exceed $2,500?
So
I was gonna ask, I hopefully you're staying in a Comfort Inn or something. Best Western.
I'm staying at The location where conference
The
is,
Waldorf
days.
Astoria.
Yeah.
8 days in.
Yeah. it's wherever
I
the,
think, I think you should have a $10 a day stipend.
wherever Karen put me, is where I'm staying.
Wait a minute. Let's pay them the same that they pay us per month.
Yeah.
Did you say yes, Bruce? Do I do a second now?
I said, so moved.
Okay, second.
Yes.
Are there any questions?
Too late for questions.
Oh,
You called for the vote.
sorry.
Actually, you're supposed to discuss it after the motions, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Are there any questions?
I guess not.
He's just being frank.
Yeah, I approve it only if he promises to bring back some high-end dark chocolate from Hershey.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's easy.
And some swag.
They said free chocolates included at check-in, so sure, I can do that.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to eat them all.
That's not on my keto diet anyway. So
Let's
you're
finish the vote.
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Bruce.
Aye.
Okay, next we have a request from the airport director to authorize the board president to sign the NDOT invoice voucher. So EKM is eligible for an $810 grant reimbursement.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions?
None.
Okay,
Tim,
Yes.
Maggie,
yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Tom.
Affirmative.
We have another request from the airport director asking asking our insurance broker to shop for quotes for the pursuant to the quote specification applications for the air traffic controller tower liability insurance. And he's asking that the airport director gets to sign is authorized to sign the quote specification application.
right. This is it's always at this time of the year. It's time for the air traffic control tower liability insurance renewal. That actually takes place in May is when that renews. There are only a limited number of carriers that will even cover this kind of an insurance. I know Maggie had inquired about the airport liability insurance blanket, as to whether that was the same as that of the city. So the airport actually has, we do subscribe to the carrier that covers all the city vehicles and buildings. That's a separate policy, which is absorbed as part of our budget. This is a separate liability policy for specifically for the air traffic control tower. There obviously is an application that needs to be provided that we fill out annually. It doesn't change very much. The controllers' names may change. They want to know how long they've been controllers, some of those things, and that's how they determine what your premium will be. So I'd like your permission to be able to submit that application, essentially as a request for quotes, and then be able to sign that on our behalf. the board's behalf.
Typically, what's the premium of that?
Karen, what was it last year?
50,
No, 24, 25?
oh wait,
I know we budgeted that much. 27,000.
27,000?
Well, we're checking.
He's guessing.
No, I'm close.
Is that for the tower only?
Only for the tower, yes.
Okay.
It's been climbing up. I'll tell you though,
it goes up about 4 grand.
and when I'm going back to now, when Jim Cobb was the airport manager, it was close to $100,000. So it's really, and it really come down obviously over the years. It was starting to creep back up. It wasn't, I think it was 24, then it went up by 4. I would say it's somewhere around, last time it was 24, 27,000.
28,
28.
28, 280.
28,280, okay, I was close. It's 28,000 is what it was last time.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
We budgeted enough to cover that and a modest increase. So,
And this is to cover if the controller tells a plane to do something and it's improper
it's,
and it causes an incident?
it's liability, correct, it's liability insurance whereby if something were to happen and it were determined that it was our fault in some way, we'd have coverage.
Okay.
Never happened.
but doesn't cover the tower itself.
No, not
Okay.
the building, only the actions of the controllers.
Okay. Well, when Cobb was the director, the runway was still cinders.
It was pretty much. Yeah,
I wasn't born yet.
that was in the, that was in the early 80s.
I was in grade school, Tom.
Yeah.
So let's vote for yes.
Second,
So did you get the motion?
No, I'm calling for the motion.
So moved.
I'm calling for the motion to approve, the director's request.
Mm-hmm.
And, second,
Bruce seconded.
Okay.
second,
Maggie,
Absolutely.
Tom,
Yes.
Bruce,
yes.
Yes.
Okay. The next request by the airport director. He's asking the board to ratify the, commission president, ratify the signature of the commission president for the 10-unit T hangar construction design. Release 1. So, the board president signed and we need his signature ratified.
There was a sense of urgency on this one from the contractor. So we talked to Doug, he did sign it, so we do need you to, this is not anything you're not aware of. I mean, obviously you supported the new construction of the T hangars from the beginning, so asking for your approval to ratify Doug's signature for the construction design release form.
What was the urgency?
Paul? what
Yeah,
Did he
was-
run out of money? Did he
No.
run out of money?
No, time.
No, this is the paperwork that goes down to the Department of Homeland Security in Indianapolis for the permitting. So you have to get that from the state before you can even start your foundations and so forth. And so it goes down there, you get your state design release, then it comes up here and they can pull the local permits. So even though the building is not scheduled to be here until August, he wants to make sure that he can get his foundations in over the summer and be ready so that he can give you a building in November like he promised. So.
I talked to him yesterday. He's anticipating maybe as early as beginning of April.
Right. We just didn't want to be in a position to be responsible for any delays whatsoever.
Right. Right. Thank you.
How long does the state take to review and issue the release?
Yeah, so they have to respond in 10 days. That's one of the nice things, that the state of Indiana has to respond in 10 days. Now, it can be a denial, but assuming all their paperwork's in order, then they should have a design release in 10 days, which then will come up and then it goes through the local process. So hopefully within, by mid-March into March, so they can start foundations in April.
Well, the other consideration, Tim, is the contractors' other jobs they're doing, and scheduling. So
Right.
That's could have been a factor in the urgency, which I think it was.
And then did BFNS do the design, or was this a design build by the contractor?
Correct. This is design build by the contractor. So we put together basically a 30% design set.
Okay.
So the site is pretty well designed. The building's pre-engineered building.
Okay.
It was set up to be any number of manufacturers. So we don't go to 100% design just because of that, because each manufacturer is slightly different in their sizing and the way they do the doors and all that. So yeah, so then once the contractor is selected and on board through the procurement process, the building manufacturer, quite frankly, provides the stamped engineering drawings for the structure.
Okay.
We reviewed those drawings ourselves to make sure that they were adequate.
Okay.
And we have a building like this already here, exactly, a rectitude, which are the 60 series. These are just a little bit
Same
larger.
manufacturer that's
Yeah.
doing the new.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only a handful. There's really only 3 T hanger manufacturers in the country. But it's nice that it does match your other one, a rectitude. The bad part is they're really backed up because of the, well, whatever you want to call the bill, they changed the name. It was bill funding. Now I don't know what it's called, but whatever the name of the money is, that money has been used for hangars all the way across the nation. Everybody's building them. And so they're kind of backed up. That's the reason the building's not coming until August. It's because there's just a long line of people waiting on buildings.
Okay.
Okay, I'm calling for a motion to ratify the signature.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Maggie,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda, the airport director has asked that we authorize the board president to sign the MPE letter dated February 26th, 2025. Andy, if you care to explain.
Sure, I'll let BFNS.
Okay.
take that one.
Yeah, this is a letter that basically authorizes the letter to go in under Doug Thorne's signature for use of your non-primary entitlements. Non-primary entitlements are a amount of money through the normal airport improvement program. So that is the traditional FAA method of grant funding. It's been around for quite a while. It's aviation trust money, which means that it is not money from the general fund. This is money that is collected through the trust, which comes from aviation fuel sales on this airport. There's basically 19 cents a gallon that goes into the federal account on that. Whenever you buy a commercial airline ticket, those $4.50 legs charge you see on your ticket, and that goes into the account. So it's a user fee based system. That money, there's a formula that distributes the money for airports that are non-primary. That means they don't have scheduled air service. That's LCART. You get $150,000 or 1/5 of your CIP, whichever is the lesser amount. In this case, 1/5 of your CIP that stands for Capital Improvement Program. 1/5 of your CIP is a lot more than 150, so you get the $150,000 a year or less. That can be used on any eligible and justified project. We have been working with the FAA to fund your runway 1836 pavement rehab. That project will cost a lot more than your entitlements. You'll see in the letter, we have carryover from 23, 24, and fiscal year 25. So it's $150,000 a year, so that's $450,000 fed. It's fed money, but it's at your discretion to use it. But they do require you to put it towards your highest priority project. And because that project's going to be a little over $2 million, they're asking you to put your 450 in it. They'll come up with the rest of the money, which is called FAA discretionary money. But there is an April 1st deadline on committing those funds. Otherwise, if you don't commit your entitlements, then they'll turn them over to other airports to be used in the form of discretionary. So that was a long explanation, but I wanted to give everybody background on, how that program and why. And so this is mainly a formality that says we're going to use our money this year for the 1836 runway project, rehab project.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah. So the full $2 million funding none of that is local dollars.
No, there's a match. Yeah. The match traditionally is 90% Fed and 5% local, 5% state of Indiana.
Okay.
But for 2025 and 2026, because of basically the reauthorization that just passed earlier, that gives us a new 5-year authorization. In that bill, they up the amount of AIP dollars and they reduce the match to 95% Fed, 2.5 state, 2.5 local. So your match went down to 2.5% for fiscal year 25, fiscal year 26. And 27, it's expected to go back to 90% Fed, 5 and 5. So that is a pretty good deal on that return. Under normal circumstances, about a 32 to 1. For every dollar you spend, you get 32 back. So that's pretty good return on the local match for sure.
And have you guys already designed the runway?
Yep, we designed it. We actually tried to compete for discretionary money last year. There was a lot of pressure on the system last year from discretionary. It's never a guarantee. That's why it's called discretionary. So you the strategy is have those ready to go and have them designed. So we actually had it ready to advertise last year. We did do a plan review with the board, but understanding that the board has changed a little bit, we will do another plan review next month. For these projects, discretionary money doesn't come out until the end of the fiscal year, which the federal fiscal year starts in October, it ends in September. And so usually most discretionary grants for the FAA don't come out until August or September, but they want the deadline for those grants are end of June. So we in order to not have the contractors build a whole bunch of inflationary costs, to be frank with you, into their bids, we try to wait for the last possible minute to bid it. So we're going to bid this in late April, May, turn the grant application in June, right before their deadline. That gives us the shortest amount of bid hold between the time we get the numbers in from the contractor and the time we actually get the grant back from the FAA. And so that's kind of the plan there. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, and then is the 2.5% local dollars, is that in your budget already, or are you gonna have to go for an appropriation in front of the council?
No, there's a federal fund that the controller has. That is where that match comes from.
Okay. And then,
He's aware.
okay, then my last question might be getting ahead of myself, but local contractors, I know Reith Riley Construction did you last for the runway improvements in 2008, 2012 era.
Yeah.
Are we worried about local contractors not being able to do this kind of work?
Well, there's a handful of contractors that are certainly qualified and able to do the work. Yeah, so usually you've got Reith Riley, Milestone, Midlock has bid out here in the past, Selge.
We have to award it to the lowest responsive bidder.
you know,
Yeah.
whoever that is.
I just wasn't sure if they had, like NDOT has pre-qualification specs, so you gotta be pre-qualified through NDOT, if you have to be
Oh, yeah.
pre-qualified through the FAA.
You do, right?
Yeah.
What that
Well,
short
it,
list looks
for aviation projects in Indiana, the FAA does not have qualification.
Oh, they don't.
But because NDOT is participating with their 5 or 2.5%, whatever,
They'll use
we
it.
use the NDOT pre-qual list.
Okay.
So they have to be on the NDOT pre-qualified list to,
Okay.
to be a bidder, yes.
Oh, that's right. It's a state.
It's a state pre-qualified list, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But there is, nonetheless, Andy's right, there is a pre-qualified list, it's just
Because
NDOT's.
they're state
But
money.
NDOT does not have a specific pre-qual for aviation. So if they're pre-qual to heavy highway paving, then
It's the same.
yeah.
Okay.
It's not the same, but for our purpose.
For,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of figured this was a little bit different than,
Yeah. Yeah, the
roadway.
mix, the asphalt mix is quite a bit different than the state. The concrete mix is very similar. It's a lot easier for contractors to do FA concrete than asphalt. The asphalt is a challenging mix, and we have had history out at this airport before with contractors not being able to do it. So a lot of what we do is an educational process with the contractors to make sure that their mix design is good and so forth like that.
It's got to be able to support your weight in one. You know,
you gotta have higher PSI
yeah,
concrete.
basically.
And do you guys provide the, inspection services?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, when an FAA project, they require you to have inspection on the federally funded projects. Now, on bill projects are an exception. You don't have to have 100% full-time. Normal AIP, you do. There's probably a way around it, but most of the time it's inspected.
Okay.
We've always had when we built the hangars before, we had
Yeah.
an engineering firm did the inspection. It's just.
For the hangar project, we won't be out here every minute, every day. Adam is our inspector.
I'm a resident in this area,
Yeah.
so for most of your foreseeable projects, I'll be out here helping out. Obviously, feel free to reach out anytime you need anything, but I'll be around day to day if it comes up.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, no, okay, so that's a good question, Scott. So the paving, because of the way the money comes, if you're not getting money until August or September, it can be a challenging time for a contractor to start in September. By the time they get their contract signed and so forth. So we usually allow the contractor the option to start in the springtime. Because the last thing you want is to be sitting here and have a cold October. This last October was a perfect example where we, had some temperatures down in the 20s and so forth during October. We can't pave, particularly we can't pave surface without 50 degrees and rising on air temperature. So it starting in late September, early October is really kind of problematic. So the physical construction may not happen until the spring of 26. Now, if there's a miracle and we get our bids in June and they issue a grant in July or August, there's a chance it could go this year. But I wouldn't bank on that given what we're seeing nationally with grants and things like that. I think it'll be an 11th hour grant coming in right at the tail end. So.
I mean, the conditions of the current runway are acceptable enough to get us to this time next year.
Well, they're not ideal, but I mean, but they'll be, yeah.
Pavement study shows that they're pretty bad. We've been busy doing crack sealing, using crack sealing it to keep it in shape. But Tim, there are some cracks big enough you can put your foot in. It's bad. It's been that way for a long time. So
We better
part
get
of the
that
reason why-
insurance policy.
part of the reason, yeah, well, that's why we film them. Part of the reason that we've had to wait so long to get it redone is because we've maintained it as well as we have. So. But, enough is enough. And again, the state, every, 2 years, they come out and do a pavement analysis of all airports in the system, and they then prioritize who gets the money based on how bad their surfaces are, and this one came up, so it's time.
What's an average lifespan of a
Gosh,
runway in
that's-
this area?
Well, when we do this pavement rehab, because it's just a rehab, it's not a new construction, the grant assurance is 20 years. A rehab is 15 years, so it should last 15 years. Reality of it is you will start seeing cracks again in 5 years
Yeah.
because when you overlay, thin layer overlays on top of the cracks do reflect through. It generally takes about, for every inch of pavement, it's 1 to 2 years. We're going to try to do three. I believe this is a 3-inch overlay, and we're using a 3/4 inch max size aggregate. Sorry, this is getting real dorky here, but we've transitioned to that where, like on a roadway, it's normally a 1/2 inch size top aggregate. Makes it prettier,
Yeah.
smooth, but on the airfields we've gotten to 3/4 inch because the stone matrix gives it a lot more structure and strength, and it helps bridge those lower lying cracks to slow the reflective cracking a little bit through it. So it's a lot more stable mix. It just, on the surface, when you go out and look at it, you're like, oh, this isn't done. It looks like a lower level asphalt course, but it's sealed up like everything. It's just coarser, and on runways nobody really cares how pretty it is as long as it's going to hold up, right?
Okay. Floor yours, Mike.
It's about time. Okay, I am gonna call for a motion to authorize the board president to sign the MBE letter dated February 26, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll, Maggie,
Yes.
Bruce,
You're on mute, Bruce.
Am I off?
No, he does.
Nope.
He just muted himself again. Come on, Bruce.
There you go. Now you can talk.
Okay. Yes,
Guess what?
I thought we were voting.
We are.
I forgot what the question was.
It's a lot more fun with these Zoom meetings.
and Tim.
Yes.
Motion carries. I probably should have said on all the other ones. Okay. The next thing I have is from the airport director, and he is asking the board or the commission to approve the progress estimate number 1 in the amount of $122,265 for the 10-unit T hangar project.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, now, any comments? Any
I think
comments?
it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
It's time to start paying for them.
Yep, any questions?
I got a question.
Sure.
Of course you do.
You can learn a few things, Tom.
Oh,
Generally,
I have.
we, for other city projects, we don't typically pay anything until we receive something. So are we helping this contractor become kind of fluid enough to pay for the project ahead of time? Is that, like, he has to put a down payment on the hangar, I assume, to get the thing started, and we're footing the
That's
bill?
right. Our spec basically allows up to 50% of the building to be paid at the time of ordering.
Okay.
So he's produced the paperwork from a rectitude, and that's pretty much a standard FAA language thing. So he's produced the paperwork for the invoice. Now their invoice, so the total building package, this is delivered to the site, not a record, right? Is $390,000, and they wanted 30% down. So this is $128,700.
And we moved retainage from that.
Yeah.
So we
there's
hold back a certain amount.
6,435 retainage, which we will hold retainage the whole project. But basically, the spec allows up to 50%. They're asking for 33%, and so that's basically how it goes.
And so will we have another invoice submitted prior to delivery, or will we only expect to pay after building's
No,
been
it should be
delivered?
after everything has arrived and is on site and inspected and insurance correct.
Okay,
Well, I mean, I guess by the spec, they could submit another
Up to the 50%.
20% before it's delivered. He doesn't anticipate doing that. From what he said is once the building shows up, he'll invoice the rest of the building package.
okay.
So
Which-
there's only gonna be 2 invoices.
Well, no, there'll be
For that
other
one.
progress that, I mean, the whole project is $1.2 million. So
Okay,
there'll be other, for example, when they start doing the foundations out there, we'll get a percentage of the mobilization. We'll start seeing the foundation work. So there'll be monthly progress estimates as work progresses. But Adam will verify the quantities. But in most cases, the work has to be done and inspected and signed off on before we pay for it. Ordering the building, quite frankly, we never used to pay for anything before it was delivered. The FAA changed that, and it was part of the small business administration type stuff for FAA things to help small businesses be able to participate in these larger federal projects for cash flow reasons. So as long as they can produce an invoice from the building manufacturer and show that it had been paid, which they've done to us, then we'll recommend paying.
Okay.
any more questions? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Oh, did I get a motion?
You did.
Okay.
You did.
Call for the vote. Hallelujah, I did something right.
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Absolutely.
I will add, we do have about $700,000 in federal funds. So next month, there'll be a pay application to the feds to get you that money back.
Okay.
It is a reimbursement program, so you have to pay it and then you get it back.
Okay, now it's time for privilege of the floor. Would anyone like to speak? Hearing no one, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Tim, you got any questions?
I do not. I don't have the clock till 5, so I got it.
Well,
Okay, well, you sit there and ask more questions. I'm going. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
so,
thank
so
you.
Andy, who's the old guy sitting beside you?
Tim?
Yeah, him.
Okay.
Why'd you point at me?
Yeah, that guy.
No.
You know, Kevin.
I'm not feeling the love, Bruce.
He's behaving this time, so.
I mean,
Under the radar.
1 month ago, man,
I know.
woo, you really turned gray in the last month.
Signature, and one of you guys sign, because he's not here.
I had to get you somewhere. You haven't hardly said a thing, Kevin.
I have to sign it since she's an actual member.
Okay.
And we turn him off.
Ah, okay.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bruce, take care.
Thanks.
All righty.
So Karen, you're gonna have Maggie sign